Okay, day 15 of reading through the Bible in a year. Before chapters, Genesis, Isaiah, Psalms, and Matthew chapter 15. Anyway, starting in Genesis chapter 15. After these events, the word of Yahweh came to Abram in a vision, saying, "Do not be afraid, Abram, I am your shield, and your reward is exceedingly great." And Abram said, "Master Yahweh, what would you give me, seeing I go childless, and the heir of my house is Eliezer of Damascus?" And Abram said, "See, you have given me no seed, and see, one born in my house is my heir." And see, the word of Yahweh came to him, saying, "This one is not your heir, but he who comes from your own body is your heir." And he brought him outside and said, "Look now toward the heavens and count the stars if you are able to count them." And he said to him, "So are your seed." And he believed in Yahweh, and he reckoned it to him for righteousness. And he said to him, "I am Yahweh who brought you out of Ur Kasdim, who gave you this land to inherit it." And he said, "Master Yahweh, whereby do I know that I possess it?" And he said to him, "Bring me a 3-year-old heifer, and a 3-year-old female goat, and a 3-year-old ram, and a turtle dove, and a young pigeon." And he took all these to him, and cut them in the middle, and placed each half opposite the other. But he did not cut the birds, and the birds of prey came down on the carcasses, and Abram drove them away. And it came to be, when the sun was going down, and a deep sleep fell upon Abram, that see, a frightening great darkness fell upon him. And he said to Abram, "Know for certain that your seed are to be sojourners in a land that is not theirs, and shall serve them, and they shall afflict them 400 years. But the nation whom they serve I am going to judge, and afterward let them come out with great possessions. Now as for you, you are to go to your fathers in peace. You are to be buried at a good old age. Then in the 4th generation they shall return here, for the crookedness of the Amorites is not yet complete." And it came to be, when the sun went down and it was dark, that see, a smoking oven and a burning torch passing between those pieces. On the same day Yahweh made a covenant with Abram, and saying, "I have given this land to your seed, from the river of Mitzrayim to the great river, the river Euphrates, with the Kenite and the Kenizzite and the Cadmonite and the Hittite and the Perizzite and the and the Rephaim and the Amorite and the Canaanite and the Girgashite and the Jebusite." Isaiah chapter 15. The message concerning Moab, because in the night Ar of Moab was laid waste, was silenced. Because in the night Kir of Moab was laid waste, was silenced. He has gone up to the house of Dibon, to the high places to weep. Moab is wailing over Nebo and ever Medeba. On all their heads is baldness, and every beard is cut off. In their streets they shall put on sackcloth on the tops of their houses, and in their streets everyone wails, weeping bitterly. And Heshbon and Elileh cry out, their voice shall be heard as far as Yahatz. Therefore the armed ones of Moab shout, his being shall tremble within him. My own heart is toward Moab. Her fugitives cry like Zoar, like a 3-year-old heifer. For by the ascent of Luchith they go up with weeping. For in the way of Horonaim they raise a cry of destruction. For the waters of Nimrim are wastes, for the green grass is withered away. The grass fails, and there is no greenness. Therefore the wealth, acquired and stored up, they take away to the wadi of the willows. For the cry has gone all around the borders of Moab. It's wailing to Eglaim, and it's wailing to Beer Elim. For the waters of Dimon shall be filled with blood, for I shall bring more upon Dimon, lions upon him, and escapes from Moab, and on the remnant of the land. Now let's turn to Psalms 15. Psalms. Okay, this copy of the Bible has some notes in it. I'll just read it and then you can look at the notes if you want. Yahweh, who does sojourn in your tent? Who does dwell in your set-apart mountain? He who walks blamelessly and does righteousness and speaks the truth in his heart. He has not slandered with his tongue. He has not done evil to his neighbor, nor lifted up a reproach against his friend, in whose eyes a reprobate one is despised, but he esteems those who fear Yahweh. He who swears to his own hurt and does not change. He has not put out his silver at interest, and has not taken a bribe against the innocent. He who does these is never moved. That's a pretty powerful chapter. All right, let's go to Matthew chapter 15. All right, we're in Matthew. There's 14. All right, 15. And then came to Yeshua scribes and Pharisees from Jerusalem, saying, "Why do your taught ones transgress the tradition of their elders? For they do not wash their hands when they eat bread." Sorry, I'm in a vehicle that's moving, but... Okay. But he answering said to them, "Why do you also transgress the command of Elohim because of your tradition? For Elohim has commanded, saying, Respect your father and your mother, and he who curses father or mother, let him be put to death. But you say, Whoever says to his father or mother, whatever profit you might have received from me has been dedicated, is certainly released from respecting his father or mother. So you have nullified the command of Elohim by your tradition. Hypocrites, Yeshayahu, Isaiah rightly prophesied about you, saying, This people draw near to me with their mouth and respect me with their lips, but their heart is far from me. But in vain do they worship me, teaching his teachings the commands of men. And hearing the crowd near, and calling the crowd near, he said to them, Hear and understand, not that which goes into the mouth defiles the man, but that which comes out of the mouth, this defiles the man. Then his taught ones came and said to him, Do you know that the Pharisees stumbled when they heard this word? But he answering said, Every plant which my heavenly Father has not planted shall be uprooted. Leave them alone. They are blind leaders of the blind. If the blind leads the blind, both shall fall into the ditch. And Kepha, Peter, answering, said to him, Explain this parable to us. And Yeshua said, Are you also are still without understanding? Do you not understand that whatever enters the mouth goes into the stomach and is cast out into the sewer? But what comes out of the mouth comes from the heart, and these defile the man. For out of the heart come forth wicked reasonings, murders, adulteries, whorings, thefts, false witnessings, slanders. These defile a man, but to eat with unwashed hands does not defile the man. And Yeshua went out from there and withdrew to the parts of Tyre and Sidon. And see, a woman of Canaan came from those borders and cried out to him, saying, Have compassion on me, O Master, son of David. My daughter is badly demon-possessed. But he did not answer her a word. And his taught ones came and asked him, saying, Send her away, because she cries after us. And he answering said, I was not sent except to the lost sheep of the house of Israel. But she came and was bowing to him, saying, Master, help me. And he answering said, It is not good to take the children's bread and throw it to the little dogs. But she said, Yes, Master, for even the little dogs eat the crumbs which fall from their master's table. And Yeshua answering said to her, O woman, your belief is great. Let it be to you as you desire. And her daughter was healed from that hour. And moving from there, Yeshua came toward the Sea of Galilee, and going up on the mountain, he was sitting there. And large crowds came to him, having with them those who were lame, blind, dumb, crippled, and many others. And they laid them down at the feet of Yeshua, and he healed them. So that the crowd marveled when they saw the dumb speaking, the crippled well, the lame walking, and the blind seeing. And they praised the Elohim of Israel. And Yeshua, having called his taught ones near, said, I have compassion on the crowd, because they have now continued with me 3 days and do not have whatever to eat. And I do not wish to send them away hungry, lest they faint on the way. And his taught ones said to him, Where are we going to get enough bread in the desert to satisfy such a large crowd? And Yeshua said to them, How many loaves do you have? And they said, 7 and a few little fish. And he commanded the crowd to sit down on the ground. And taking the 7 loaves and the fish, giving thanks, he broke them and gave them to his taught ones, and the taught ones to the crowd. And all ate and were satisfied, and they picked up what was left over of the broken pieces, 7 large baskets filled. And those who ate were 4,000 men, besides women and children. And dismissing the crowd, he went into the boat and came to the borders of Magdala. Alright, I wanted to talk about early in the chapter 15, we had this washing of the hands thing. And what I want to specifically say about the washing of the hands is that is a Jewish tradition that's nowhere in the Torah that the Jews were, or anybody was commanded to wash their hands before they eat. So this is where they've added to the law, and Messiah comes and tells us that he wants us to follow him and his law and not add to it.